welcome to the Zadzooks Happy Hour, a podcast providing commentary on the latest in film, TV, games, and comics. My name is Todd Stoll, and I'm joined by 25-year veteran reporter covering pop culture, video games, and technology for the Washington Times, Joseph Zadkowski. We're doing this a day early. Crazy.
Yeah, we're on schedule now. We're on schedule.
Yeah.
Of course, you're listening to Zadzooks Happy Hour. It's happy, and it's an hour because you only have to listen for 30 minutes.
Yeah, roughly 30 minutes.
That's why you're
We're up and down. So, how about that Super Bowl? What do you think?
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mr. 4K with your 18 speakers.
I so trash-talked my kid because he was such a huge Patriots fan. But I just knew it was not going to go well in the second half.
I don't know how you come back in the fourth quarter with 14 minutes and score that many unanswered points.
Two-point conversions.
I mean, that first one was impressive, where it was the fake snap to Brady and it goes right to the running back. That was great. The other one where he clearly makes it, and then there's a flag with 47 seconds left.
Right.
And then, of course, they get the stupid coin toss, and it's like as soon as they got it, I'm like, the game's over.
I would have immediately rescinded my offer for Kyle Shanahan. I think he's going to be coaching
49ers.
I would have walked up to him and went, what happened exactly?
Yeah.
Zero offense.
And the thing is that people no one seems to be able to articulate, was that the biggest collapse ever, or was it just that they played an opponent that refused to give up and those guys just burst out of the gate so quickly that they were tired toward the end of the game?
Right.
Because the Patriots were terrible for 3 quarters.
Right.
And
all
then
of a sudden
they lit it up and they were unstoppable.
I don't know. Do you remember the playoff game with the Oilers and I think it was Buffalo, or where they came back from like 35 points or something?
Yeah.
That was a crazy.
I mean, to do it in the Super Bowl, for it to be the first time it's ever gone, which for some reason I really thought there was one other Super Bowl that had gone to overtime, but maybe it was the championship game. For that to happen, the fact that after 3 quarters, they still managed, because all of a sudden everyone started hearing that they're coming back, that they still managed like 115 million viewers. Because I'm thinking this is going to be the worst rated Super Bowl ever. You know, after 3 quarters, it's a blowout. It's 28-3. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Everyone's gone.
You know, and then they're showing.
Then there's people waking their kids up.
I woke my kid up. I mean, Mark Wahlberg left, although he claims that his kid wasn't feeling well, and I would have punched him in the stomach and said, "Suck it up."
tough beans.
That was a crazy game. That was in terms of television, was one of the most amazing.
You can either call it the best or the worst ever.
Yeah,
because
if you are a Falcons fan, this was.
No, if you're a football fan, I mean, what happened? That total collapse should never happen in a professional sport.
No,
you pay people to not allow that to happen. You have a battery of coaches upstairs watching guys sweat every second.
Yeah.
Every movement they make. It's like watching a Madden game, right? Because they've got all the plays. They can see everything. They can move each player right. They can watch exactly what's going on. That shouldn't happen.
And that was one of the coolest things.
Yeah, the 360?
The 360 thing. I'm like, man, I am watching Madden. This is awesome.
Right. That's right.
Between that and, I love how, it's been 10 years since they've had the camera on the the wire system that goes from one end to the other where they will follow the kick. The fact that they went back to miking players up again, which I know they hadn't really done, and they released it, and that was very cool to listen to. But I mean, I don't know how you come back from that. Like, people were asking them afterwards, don't you think you're losing to the point where like you're so demoralized you don't want to play?
Right.
And, that's sportsmanship. I guess that's why they get paid and they get their Super Bowl
I blame
bonus.
the coaches.
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, you've been listening to ESPN Redo. Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
We had to talk about it. It's only fair.
Because it was amazing.
It was amazing. We're now going to move into our bread and butter, our core area here. We're going to talk about a couple Blu-ray / 4K UHD releases that are coming out. Arrival is the first one we're going to talk about. That is with Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, and Forrest Whitaker. And the premise is that there are alien ships that have somehow mysteriously come to Earth. They're in various places. There's 12 of them, and Amy Adams' character is a linguist. They bring her and they bring Jeremy Renner, who's a scientist, to try to figure out and communicate with these aliens. And it's very militarized, very bleak movie. It's very dark.
It is very...
It's kind of depressing. The whole thing is very depressing because, like, these people are in a bubble. They're terrified. But then on the outside world, you have people who are, looting and, mass, hysteria.
The worst of humanity is coming out, and people don't even know what to do. And they need to communicate.
Quite honestly, I mean, that is most likely what would happen under the circumstances if that were to ever happen in quote-unquote real life.
Which is pretty sad.
People would just panic and
they'd
freak
lose
out.
their poop. That's right.
It's...
She's got to figure out their language. I don't want to give away too much of this.
No. The aliens are called heptapods.
Because they look like a hand.
They look like a...
with a couple extra things on top.
When I first saw them, they looked
from the
like...
Addams Family.
They look like octopus, too, a little bit.
Think about the Addams Family and the guy with...
Cousin It.
Cousin It.
Or,
that wasn't
Thing.
Cousin. Thing. Think of Thing.
Yeah.
With an extra couple digits.
Yeah. The visuals of
the design of the alien supposedly was the guy who came up with some of the stuff for the alien film Prometheus.
The xenomorphs?
No, the weird stuff in Prometheus, right? Mm-hmm. Same guy.
Yeah.
So you can see that when you look at him.
I mean, the aliens themselves, that was very cool. So the aliens communicate by opening up this, I don't know how you would describe it. It's almost like a flower, which is like a hand.
Right.
And they spray ink. And the ink then creates a symbol.
It's like a three-dimensional language.
And their job is to now try to figure out and break down what it is that's being said so that they can communicate.
Right. The director is the guy who did Sicario, and I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm not going to say it.
Do it.
Dennis Villeneuve. Villeneuve. Villeneuve.
I mean, I live near Canada, right? That's for all you Americans who don't know it's pronounced Canada.
Canada.
Renner is great. Mm-hmm. I like his character a lot. I like Renner when he's not doing Marvel movies.
Right.
Hurt Locker, he was awesome in.
Yep.
Oscar nominated for that. Really great stuff there. The visuals were fantastic. A lot of very interesting sounds. There's a featurette where they sort of talk about the acoustic signature of the aliens, but there's also a lot of sirens, and there's varying sirens.
The soundtrack is weird, the musical soundtrack.
Yep.
So if you're looking for popcorn munching like Independence Day, wrong movie.
Yep. This is a serious
If you're
take.
looking for heartwarming meetups like Close Encounters,
no, you're not
happening.
No, you're not going to get that.
If you're looking
either.
for horrifying moments like Signs, no, not happening either.
No, it's just the struggle of trying to keep humanity from killing itself by attacking these,
intellectual science fiction.
Correct.
When I was in high school, I read a book called Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke. I recommend reading that book and watching Arrival.
Okay.
It's the same. It's not the exact same premise, but it made me think of it when I was watching the movie.
Some of the premise of the movie is just to figure out whether what they're here for. Are they here to do harm to the human race, or are they peaceful? And you see a lot of what I think humanity would respond to in a live, real situation where governments don't trust each other, and it's very realistic if you kind of step back and look at it. One of the things that I thought was great from a visual perspective, and I'm not quite sure how they handled this other than a bunch of wires, but the camera of it was great, is that they enter the ship on a cherry picker, and then they're pointing upward, but if you jump,
there's a gravity shift.
And now you're walking upright. So now your axis has changed. And that initial scene where they're going in and they're all terrified and they shift was very cool. And you know, that is one of the, I think, more ingenious things about this. I mean, the idea of how to communicate and that I think is very interesting. But the ships themselves were very simplistic, somewhat very beautiful, really. They
polished pebbles.
Yeah, it was very cool. But it's a.
Is it worthy of an Oscar nomination for best film? Considering what came out this year, probably.
I think she deserves an Oscar nom for her role.
She was good.
She was really good. I actually thought both of them were great. And Forrest Whitaker has sort of been hitting home runs lately. Rogue One. He was awesome in for the very short period of time, and in this, he's a very serious military colonel. So yes, you're following this character, Louise Banks, and Ian Donnelly, who is Jeremy Renner's character, and they are
a physicist,
and they are trying to figure it out, and they have very little time before other nations decide that no action means we must intervene and destroy them before they destroy us.
So if you watch it in 4K UHD, you're not going to want to watch it in 4K UHD. It doesn't matter because the palette's so drab. Yeah. The color scheme is so drab. Cinematographer Bradford Young delivers dreary. I mean, now once again, that's not bad. So he's creating a dynamic and a style.
So Oscar for drabness
will go to
him.
But here's the thing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate well to this ultra high definition format.
And I think part of the reason too is that when you look at the communication, it's white and black, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of a white kind of, I don't know how you would describe it. It's like a cloud that these aliens exist in, and their symbols are in black. So in that case, it makes sense that the room that she sleeps in is white, and they're inside this thing and they're wearing white.
Right.
And there's not a lot of color to it.
Hazmat suits are orange.
They're orange.
So that pops a little bit.
And then after a while, they're not using them anymore, which isn't
right.
Is again, they're riding in white
and
trucks.
You touched on the extras, right?
Yep.
But you didn't touch on the best extra, which was the 15 minutes talking about the theoretical science behind the movie, which
was very cool.
So you're going to need to take notes and have a laptop handy because they kind of go deep, like variational principles of physics, and then they look at linguistic relativity. It's pretty heavy.
But you know what? It's the real deal. They did their homework. I mean,
it was based on a short story.
Yep.
by a renowned sci-fi author who I've never heard of. So that tells you something about what I've been doing lately.
Clearly not watching.
Not reading
thought-provoking movies,
or
such
reading
as
awesome science fiction, which I did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved it. My better half dozed off during it and needs to see it again. But
I think this is one film where I would watch it again, but I would need some time in between viewings.
Right.
This is not something that I would go back to as a repeat viewer often, but it is the visuals of it. It is on that plane of like 2001 where it's like very sort of even keel,
methodical.
Yeah, very
the whole
much
thing.
So. And for some people that's maybe not their cup of tea, but if you're into sci-fi, this is
serious sci-fi.
This is a great imagination that put this together, and it's very cool. And it's one of those things where you would really hope that if there wasn't an Independence Day style thing, that this would be what would actually be happening.
Right.
So, all in all, good film.
Yep.
Maybe not best film. She did a great job. He did a great job. So
2 hours. Great movie.
Great movie. We'll put that in our 2017 picks.
Yes.
So,
all right.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk Masterminds.
Harsh.
We're lining you up for that one already.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think we've just lost the audience.
It's going to be a barn burner, so stick around for that. We'll be back.
Communities Digital News, built by the writers and editors that deliver the news 24 hours a day. Visit comdiginews.com. That's COMMDIGI news.com. And support the next evolution in news.
We were starting to get really
It
heated
just
about
boggles my mind that the best stuff that we talk about, you never record.
Well, yeah. Well, we were getting heated on it because we definitely have an opinion on this film. We're going to talk about Masterminds,
and we're going to be spending way too much time even talking about it.
We are. We're going to just prepare you for what you should and shouldn't do. So, Masterminds stars Zach Galifianakis as David Gant. Kate McKinnon is in it as his fiance. Kristen Wiig is in it as his coworker / alternate love interest. You've got Jason Sudeikis, who's a hitman.
Owen Wilson.
Yep. And Leslie Jones.
Who's actually the mastermind behind it all.
Yeah. And then Leslie Jones. So in this film, you have three
Ghostbusters.
3 of the 4 Ghostbusters.
So that's a problem.
Maybe, no. Again, Kate McKinnon is great. But man, the vehicles that she has been in and
this
driven,
woman deserves a good movie.
She deserves a well-written comedy where
Right.
she isn't zany and completely out of her mind.
Right.
Because it doesn't work. But so the premise of this film, which is based on a true story,
true 1997 robbery of the Loomis Fargo and Company's armored car firm,
and they take $17 million.
Right. Which is one of the biggest cash robberies in the history of the United States.
Correct. I think may still be one of the biggest.
Yep.
This film was dreadful for me.
It was. Listen, as long as Jandis is on the screen, I'm fine with it.
I couldn't.
Which was about 4 minutes.
I could not relate to a single character in this to keep me focused on it at all.
Lorne Michaels seriously needs to stick to Saturday Night Live and just leave it alone. The guy's got an unbelievable track record with Saturday Night Live.
You know what it is he got that taste with Wayne's World, and then it's all been downhill from there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take a cast. This is a monumentally popular and famous cast. Just well-known,
yes, they're
funny
seeping
people.
comedy.
Seeping comedy.
If you even put them on the set for an hour and let them do anything they wanted, it would probably be funnier than this movie. And it's no excuse. The director was from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Okay. Jared Hess. So what happened?
I mean, the thing is, and maybe this is where I lose out a little bit. I compared this to Pain and Gain, which was Mark Wahlberg, was The Rock, and that movie is, again, sort of a heist film that's so over-the-top unbelievable that they have to keep reminding you throughout the movie, this really happened.
Right.
And this movie is meant to be the same thing. But the thing is they never, in the very beginning of the movie, say this is the events of this film are truth. They never say that.
Well, yes, they do.
Not in the beginning.
Isn't there a title card that says, yes, there is?
No.
You go watch. You'll find it.
If there is, then I missed it.
You missed it. You were falling asleep.
I mean, other than the fact that on the cover it says inspired by a ridiculous true story.
You were watching it on a 10-inch screen.
No,
so
it
got cut off.
It's fine. But I will say that, and I asked you this, I couldn't tell if this was meant to be a spoof.
Or did it really happen?
Or did it really go down this way where these people are so over the top, exaggerated, like hillbilly rednecks,
right?
That just like I can't believe that this is how all of these people acted.
So we know that the Owen Wilson character, Steve Chambers, did what he did.
Yes,
the guy took a bunch of cash and started buying stupid stuff, like sports cars.
Well,
a mansion.
What was that? He bought the Geo and put like tractor tires on it. I believe that did happen.
Right. So that happened. So if you go that far, I believe that. I mean, I'm not sure that all the pratfalls, the Three Stooges action that was happening actually happened to Gant, but I believe the booger whistle did happen. Probably not.
I mean, I don't know. But you have to imagine it would have, because there's all this FBI surveillance data around this case.
Right.
But it's It's just bizarre. I mean, it's just a weird movie. It's not, what I think did it for me was when I looked at the back of it, laugh out loud, Andrew Rosenthal, New York Live. It's like, wow, they really couldn't get anybody to come out.
They had to go deep.
New York Live.
I would have given them something.
Yeah, New York Live. I'm not sure about that. It was a rough watch. It really was.
Yeah, but here's what's really stunning. In movies like this, they always have in the extras like alternate dialogue, laugh-a-rama, joke-a-rama, gag reels. There's nothing.
No, they had a gag reel, but it was at the end of the film.
Okay, but that does not cover the shenanigans going on that set. There's no way they didn't have takes up the kazoo they weren't using.
The only time I laughed was the very last gag reel where it's Galifianakis and Kristen Wiig, and he's going to kiss her, and he's got his tongue out, and she makes some comment, and he immediately unzips his pants. And that, I almost died because that was so funny.
That should have stayed in.
And
Jason Sudeikis is a hitman.
Yeah.
For no apparent reason. And when you look at it, you go, what? And then, but it happened.
But this is the thing.
It happened.
When I think of Jason Sudeikis, he's done some pretty good movies, recently. And I look at this and I'm like, he's got to look at his amazing wife and be like, yeah, I did that movie for money.
Right.
I mean, what I took away from this is if I were a member of the cast, I would be very embarrassed having my name associated with this. It just either it didn't edit well, or it wasn't written well, or to me, it seemed like an SNL skit that went 35 minutes too long, and at that point, the audience had walked out.
Right. Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was written by a former SNL writer, Emily Spivey, and Lorne Michaels was involved. And guess what? You've got three cast members, Leslie Jones.
Right.
That are in this film. And it just seemed like
Leslie Jones was totally pointless.
Yep.
I'm glad she got the check, but there was no point in her being in the movie.
Yeah. Owen Wilson annoyed me. He and his wife annoyed. I mean, maybe that was the point. I mean, it was the point because the guy was kind of a doofus.
So my favorite part of the movie is the featurette that talks about the movie. The 16 minutes where you actually meet the journalists who wrote about this case, the FBI agents who closed the case, and the real David Gant, who's out of prison.
So at this point, what we're telling you is that if you want to watch this, don't watch the feature film, watch the extra.
The 16-minute extra. Because if you listen to this guy and watch how this happened, you can't believe they almost got away with this. And there's still $2 million missing.
Yeah.
Okay? If these guys would have just calmed the hell down, they would have got away with a lot of money.
Yep.
They made stupid mistakes. The stupidest mistake was he didn't pull all the camera tapes.
He left one camera.
He left one camera going. Oh my God. So anyway, speaking of Sean Spicer and Saturday Night Live, did you see that? And it couldn't have been. I mean, I love Second City, and this was a moment
that to me was.
I don't care what your political affiliation was.
That was SNL's renaissance. That was some of the best Saturday Night Live writing.
Take it back to Nixon. Dan Aykroyd is Nixon in the White House.
Take it back to him as Ford.
Was he Ford?
I think he was Ford
he
for
wasn't.
a while.
Chevy Chase was Ford.
That's right.
Yeah.
Chase was Ford. But holy crap, that was Melissa McCarthy.
Home run.
Plays Sean Spicer, who for the moment is still the White House press secretary, and she knocks that out of the park.
Go to YouTube. Watch it a couple
everywhere.
times.
And during that episode, Alec Baldwin plays Donald Trump again. That was pretty well done. There are a lot of rumors going around that Rosie O'Donnell is going to play Steve Bannon
tomorrow night.
And if that is the case, that is the trifecta. That is the drop your mic. SNL has officially elevated itself to a whole new plane.
Right.
And, there was a lot of talk about ditching some of the cast members who were very solid cast members. Taran Killam was out at the end of the season. Jay Farrow.
Really?
Yeah, they both just got booted. Their contracts weren't renewed. And it's like, wow, you know what? Now I guess I see why they didn't need them, because holy
they can bring
cow,
anybody they want.
The material,
Right.
I mean, this stuff can't even write itself how crazy it is. But so when you take that fourth member of the Ghostbusters movie, she knocked that out of the park. That was phenomenal. Really, really, really well done.
So looking forward to tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more left.
Or in theory, when you put this up on Tuesday, I'll be looking forward to Saturday night.
Yeah, to this past Saturday night when somebody else was in it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Baldwin is playing again because he was on Fallon yesterday, and he said he's
being silly.
He was being silly, and it was good.
Okay,
but was not just in case you didn't get it. What was not silly and what was not funny at all was this movie called Masterminds.
That's what you should take away from this.
Just take that away.
Yeah, file it,
make a note of it.
Yep.
It's already available for sale for $4.99 on Amazon, so that has to tell you something.
Zoinks.
And if you go look at Rotten Tomatoes, yikes.
Yep.
So, okay, we'll do one more quick segment at the end here, and we'll find something fun to talk about, and we'll be right back.
That would be a first.
Communities Digital News, built by the writers and editors that deliver the news 24 hours a day. Visit comdiginews.com. That's COMMDIGI news.com. And support the next evolution in news.
All right, we're going to quick talk about a couple of things. We're going to let's
go ahead.
Go ahead.
What do you got?
All right. I'm going to calm down.
I got stuff. Dirty Dancing 30th anniversary.
Have you watched it yet?
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, really?
I'm so sorry and sad to admit that. Have you?
Yeah, but I've seen the cable version. You know, like whatever they were playing on TV.
Right.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was all right.
It was good.
Yeah.
I love Jerry Orbach.
Yeah,
It was great.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze, nice.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was all right.
That's what.
Not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a good movie. Okay, so opening this week, we've got 3 movies that are vying for number 1, although one of them we're going to take right out of the equation, and that is 50 Shades Darker. That
Boink.
One, yeah, that's completely going to collapse. And
people were laughing at the trailers. That's what I heard.
Oh, that's
theaters.
Awesome. That's great. So that leaves us with 2 films, both of which are hovering around the 90 to 91 fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Which is
pretty amazing to me.
Which is great. You've got the Lego movie, Lego Batman.
Right.
And you have John Wick Chapter 2. Now, I think Lego Batman will beat out John Wick.
Because it's a kid's movie.
Because it's a kid's movie. But John Wick, the fact that it actually is rating better than the first one.
But it is hard R.
It is a hard R. A lot of gun violence. It's gun fu. You know.
Right.
But I'm into that. And
there's supposed to be a segment in it. I don't think I'm giving anything away. That's like The Warriors, where he's literally trying to survive a gauntlet of problems walking the streets, which I can't wait.
I'm all
it's gonna
for
be
it.
Great.
Lego Batman, it's interesting that it actually got the ratings were that high, because I read some things that people felt like it was a recycled message from the original Lego movie, which was sort of, teaming up together to fight.
Who plays the Joker?
Zach Galifianakis.
That's right. That should be fun.
Who plays Robin?
Are there any Ghostbusters in this movie?
I don't think
so. Are there
so.
any voices of Ghostbusters in this movie?
But who's Robin? Come on.
I don't know.
Michael Cera.
Oh, that's right. I just got my Lego Dimensions pack, so I'll be playing Batman Lego Dimensions with Robin.
Have they said what the next big Lego movie is going to be like this?
No.
I mean, they have to make a sequel to the original one at some point, you would think.
I'm sure, absolutely.
I think John Wick, this is going to be one of those, Lethal Weapon style franchises where this could go however long he wants it to go.
Right.
He's not really a sequel guy, Keanu Reeves, so I think it's going to be...
Matrix.
Yeah, but even then, he was done. He said that if they were going to do any more than 3, he was done.
Right.
So, Bill and Ted's only had 2... But this is, he never did the second Speed.
Right. Which was a very smart career move.
Hey, I give him a lot of credit for that. At least they didn't do Point Blank too, right?
Right.
But this is great. I'm glad to see someone who had success in their younger career be able to come back and just royally kick it and later on in their career, and it's great. So
John Travolta.
Yeah. Oh, come on now.
Wait, he came back.
Sort of.
Pulp Fiction, and then he kind of got caught in a problem.
Yeah, and that problem.
And he's continued.
Yeah. So if you're going to go watch something and you are into hard R's, then obviously John Wick is for you if you've got little kids or you just really like to play with Legos, a Lego movie. But quite honestly, the movie you probably don't need to see is 50 Shades Darker.
Ever.
Or watch it on HBO when it's out.
Or watch it with Fountainhead.
Okay.
That would be a good 2-pack for the evening.
Yeah.
And then you can take a knife and remember to cut perpendicular when you're taking out in your wrist.
Now, speaking of knives and cutting and bloody and gory things, this Sunday is the mid-season return of The Walking Dead.
I'd love to talk about it with you, but you haven't watched anything from last year yet, except the opening season.
Hey, listen.
Blood Slaughter Fest.
Yeah, that was why I sort of needed to take a break for a while.
Right.
I'll catch up to it, but, always... it'll be a big, splashy opening. They're leading towards the all-out war.
Hopefully they get to it and get done with it this season.
And that is my one disappointment with The Walking Dead is that they cliffhang too many things that quite honestly don't need to be.
Dragging and dragging.
There
were some really good episodes this season so far, but some real clunkers that were just, we didn't need.
And it's what is this, season 7? I mean, they're
right.
You're getting to that point where you gotta
end it.
You gotta end it.
Right. Anything on Fear of the Walking Dead? I haven't watched it forever.
No.
Was it any good?
I watched
stopped
a couple episodes of the second season and kind of petered off of it.
I was very excited when they were showing how the outbreak happened, and then they lost me. The moment they started isolating themselves and that kind of stuff, it was over.
Because the thing is it morphed too much into The Walking Dead.
Right.
And at that point, I'm like, well, I'm already watching it. It's
so
way
will
better.
there be a crossover? Will they meet like in Kansas or something?
No, I doubt it. I hope not. That would be the jump the shark moment, I think. Got anything else?
I watched the first episode of Stranger Things.
Oh, you did?
Very excited.
Okay.
That was fun.
All right.
I just finished watching the third season of Last Ship, which is probably by far one of the best kick-ass shows on the air. If you haven't seen it or heard about it, I thought for sure this season was going to just drag. No. Watch it.
I mean, and now you're starting to finally get some of the long-awaited second half of the television season shows.
Right.
Better Call Saul. You're going to get Fargo season 3 sometime this spring.
Right.
Which I'm very excited for.
All good.
Everything is coming into place quite nicely. I think eventually, one show that might suffer and just get totally weird would be South Park, because they've already said they're not going to satire Trump because he's already a satire of himself.
Right.
So I'll be interested to see how they go with that, but it's good stuff. So
okay.
All right. Well, you know what? This was very entertaining.
Yes,
just
I really.
One last
I hope
time,
I entertained you.
One last time, I just want to remind, if for some reason you fell asleep in the middle segment, please don't watch Masterminds.
Don't give them any money.
Don't do anything. It was just that bad, and I am so embarrassed for the entire acting.
Oh
cast.
man,
I'm so embarrassed for you.
That's a little harsh.
Oh, so bad.
But they all have more money than you or I do.
Oh, hey, listen.
So
they
you
don't
know
care.
what?
They don't care
they
about
don't
me.
Care.
I'm sitting in a basement. They'll never listen to this.
They're not
it's
gonna.
Fine.
It's not like Kristen Wiig's gonna. Oh no! Look what Todd said about me.
Well, again,
I'm never gonna have it. Now let me go collect my residual check on Ghostbusters and the Ghostbusters toys and throw another $50,000.
Well, and they just announced that Kate McKinnon is going to voice the Magic School Bus revival on Netflix.
Oh boy. Okay, I'm not sure that's a good thing.
Well, the main character is this crazy teacher,
well,
so
perfect.
She'll fit right in. All right, well, that's it for me. I am Todd Stowell.
And I'm still Joe Zadkowski.
And we're going to play some polka at the end.
As we usually do.
And you've been listening to the Zad Dukes Happy Hour.
Have a good week.